I'd like to welcome all of you formally to the Analytics Accelerator Certification webinar. This is a part of two classes that you're invited to complimentary today and tomorrow. Today we'll talk about analytics. What does analytics mean? What are the different kinds of analytics? Clear all your doubts, ask as many questions as you want. We believe in a lot of participation, and that's what makes us stand out from the rest of the crowd. So I'm really looking forward to answering your questions about analytics today, and I hope you're excited. I just want to share my introduction. So I'm actually Amit, and I'm the CEO of Equiskill.com. I'm also the founder of Equiskill.com. I'll share more about myself a little bit later, but I'm actually based out of Bangalore. So now what I've done is I've put all of that into the chat box. And here's a wonderful opportunity for you to network with everyone who's joined the class today. So Kishore, Kohelika, Ridwan, if all of you could please share your name and your location and what you're doing in life. So are you working at a company, or if you're a student, we'd love to know what you're studying, where you're studying at, okay, and that'd be great. So all of you, I'd request you all, Wei Chen, Brian, Dalrun, please share a little bit about yourself in the chat box, and I'm going to kick off after that, right? Let me just see all the responses coming in the chat box, and we'll move ahead. So what I'm looking at again is your name, what you're doing in life, and where you're based out of, your location, right? So we've got Ram. Ram is a senior analyst at ClickView in Chennai. That's great. Ram, I think you're on a private chat, so you can make it a public chat by writing to everyone, and everyone will get to see who you are and what you're doing. We've got Gaurav, who's a recruiter in Pune. That's great, right? And how about the rest of us, please? So Pankita, Ramsi, Agung, Suja, JS, right? Susie, Wei Chen, Brian. Would you all please chime in with your introductions? So we've got Caroline. Caroline's an epidemiologist at Boston, Massachusetts. Okay, that's great. Okay. More folks? Okay. So I think everyone's typing out now. So we've got Kavita, who's a testing specialist based out of Bangalore, and we've got Susie, who's in Jakarta, Indonesia. Welcome, Susie. Software engineer in Jakarta. We've got Suja JS, who's a student in Bangalore. Suja, that's great. What are you studying? We'd love to know that. Okay. This is great. And we've got Pankita, who's a happiness officer. The world needs a lot of people like you, Pankita. So thank you for joining the webinar. We've got Avern, who's in banking. He's actually on the business development side of banking in Malaysia. I'm assuming, Avern, that you're in Kuala Lumpur. I come there often, so it's great to have you in the webinar. All right, so we'll kick off, folks. Thanks, and I'm sure the rest of you are also typing. So thanks for your introductions. And I see more introductions coming in. We've got Ridwan in Jakarta in operations and transportation. So we're equiskill.com, and we started out in 2015. And our mission is rather simple, right? We want to make sure that everyone has the ability to draw insights from the vast amount of data that is accessible to us today to better the state of their self, organization, and country. And we believe that the only way you do that is by practicing and learning analytics, right? We have an unrelenting customer commitment to all of you, and we'd be more than happy to, answer all your questions. And while I'm saying all of this, we've got Ram, who's shared that he's a consultant in Bangalore, and we've got Agung, who's actually freshly graduate in Jakarta, Indonesia. Okay, so what sets us apart from the other platforms is that we're all from Fortune 100 companies like Amazon, and we are real analytics professionals, not trainers, and we believe in sharing what we know with all of you. Our trainers have more than 2 decades of experience at companies that you see here, and we believe in having a small class size and have individual attention and even relationships with our learners for a long period of time. The methodology that you'll see us follow today in the class is a click and follow analytics workshop. So we're actually going to have a live session where you're going to see a demo in Tableau, one of the softwares that is leading across the world in analytics right now. So that's coming up today. But before that, a few more things. I'm actually an MBA and a computer engineer, and I've worked at Amazon.com with the fraud analytics team, with the GIoT team in the Jack F. Welch Technology Center, and the City Advanced Analytics team globally, right, based out of New York and Bangalore. So that's a little bit about myself, and these are some of the companies where we've actually, trained on. And I can see that Ram actually follows me on Quora. So thanks a ton, Ram, for that. We'll share that with everyone so you can look at the stuff that we share on Quora. So we've got learners from all of these companies and colleges across the world, right? And we're all here, folks, for the simple reason that analytics is booming, right? So face it, that the reality is that every day, we're creating 2.5 quintillion bytes of data. Right? And what does this mean? What this means is that the amount of data that we had in 2017 is actually going to double. So it's going to be 200% of that in the year 2018, right? And this hasn't just been happening from 2017 to 2018. No, it's been happening for the past 5 years, right? And this data explosion is what you see on your screens right now. So you've got 277,000 tweets happening in a minute. You've got Amazon making close to $100,000 a minute. You've got 4 million Google searches, right? Where people are looking for stuff that you and I can sell and buy. But that's not just it. You've got folks on Tinder they're looking for wonderful relationships. You've got folks on Pinterest sharing everything from pottery to weight loss. You've got thousands of emails, 72 hours of video a minute, right? Every minute, right? And this massive data explosion is why analytics has come to the fore. And before I go ahead, I just want to share a couple of things with you, right? So I blog a lot on Quora.com. So you will find me blogging on Quora.com on the topics of analytics, business analytics. These are, the favorite topics for me on Quora.com. We have a world ranking of Quora.com, which I'll just show you right now. So I've got close to 365 answers to very popular questions globally that you can see here on Quora.com. And as a result of this, we've achieved a ranking of #1 in the world. And thanks to all of you, I see that some of you actually follow me on Quora. So let me share the Quora profile, and please feel free to read through some of the answers that we've actually got on Quora.com, right? We also have a Facebook page, and here's our Facebook page. So on the Facebook page, you'll see that we've got reviews by learners globally who've joined our webinars and our classes, and we've got a bunch of events that we organize free of cost globally to actually help people learn analytics, right? Okay, so I'll share the Facebook page link a little bit later, but again, just on the Quora piece that we were talking about. And here's our website. So this is kind of important. There's a lot of free events that we organize, on the website. And if you go to the website and you go to the events, you have an opportunity to actually look at some of the events that we've organized in the past, right? And for example, this one here, and access some of those events on the website, right? Okay, there we go. So that's just a little bit about us. And here we go. Here's our ranking globally right now on Quora.com before I move ahead. Coming up now, and with all your support, currently ranked as #1 globally on Quora.com. So thanks for joining my webinar. And I'm going to go back to the presentation and get back to what you all want to know, right? See, because of this data explosion, folks, right? Data science has become the hottest job. And whether you look at Jakarta, Kuala Lumpur, or you look at Singapore, Bangalore, London, or the US, right? California, or Dallas, I think it's one of the hottest jobs, even in Australia, globally. And I haven't seen many places on LinkedIn where it is not one of the hottest areas to work on outside of the top 5 across the world. And if you want to learn a little bit about this, right, there's this wonderful link that I just want to share with all of you. So if you go and Google LinkedIn top skills, right, and 2017, you'll get this wonderful article where LinkedIn talks about the skills that can actually get you hired, and not just analytics, right? It's just about all the skills in all the countries across the world. And as you see here, Australia, Brazil, Canada, and you'll find your country there as well, right? So just sharing this across with you, don't worry, it's there in the presentation already, but I've just shared it across with everyone in the chat box as well. So what you'll find is that at the end of the presentation, I've actually got all the links for you, right? So on this page here, I've got all the useful links that I'm going to share in the webinar. Don't you worry about it. You'll get all of it if you share your email IDs and contact with us at the end of the webinar. Right. So, in the 80s, the hottest companies, guys and girls, were the oil companies. So Chevron, ExxonMobil together had a revenue of $500 billion or a capitalization of close to $500 billion. But today, it's all about analytics. So it's about Facebook, it's about LinkedIn, and you might think these are companies that are into social networking or professional networking. Reality is that they're all data companies, right? And if there's something that's becoming hotter than this, and I'm sure you and I all agree, there's the cryptocurrencies, right? And recently, one of the cryptocurrencies, the founder became momentarily richer than Google's founders, right? And if you can name the cryptocurrency, I'll send something good your way. Okay. So I want to ask you this, right? What are the different kinds of analytics that you've heard of so far? Okay. And that's the question. And everyone can answer, right? What are the different kinds of analytics that you have heard of till date? Any analytics? Okay. Looking for your responses in the chat box, folks. So what sets me apart from the others is I'm going to look at interaction. Interaction is really important. And Ram says Bitcoin. Ram, I'll answer the question. It's not Bitcoin. It's another cryptocurrency, which I'll talk about in a short while, right? Arul talks about predictive, descriptive. Pankita talks about HR analytics. Deepak says prescriptive. How about the others? Anyone heard of big data analytics? Please say yes if you have. Yes. I'm sure you can type a yes in the chat box. Yes, absolutely. Visual analytics says Auburn. Fantastic. Kavita says yes. Anyone heard of financial analytics, banking analytics, predictive analytics, right? Okay. So I want to clear the whole confusion around this before we move anywhere ahead. Fundamentally, folks, there are only three kinds of analytics, right? And those three kinds of analytics are those that you see on the screen right now. The very first one is actually called descriptive analytics. And some of you answered this correctly. I want to thank you for that. Okay, the second one is called predictive analytics. And the third and the final one is called prescriptive analytics. Now, are you all clear about what this is, or can I invest a little bit of time to explain this, right? So please say explain, okay, in the chat box, and I'll go ahead and explain this to you. Yes, would you like me to explain this? Okay, superb. All right. So folks, I'm just going to make this nice and easy for you, right? You see, what happens in a business is half the times business leaders don't even know, what is going on in their business. So if I'm a sales leader and I'm heading the sales of an organization globally, I probably want to know what happened to our sales last month. But in order to do this, right, in order to answer the simple question, what's going on in my business, I need some metrics. I need to know how much quantity of sales we've achieved. I need to know how much is the amount of sales we've achieved. I need to know, how much is the profit that we made, right? So all of these are known as metrics. And for this, I need reports that actually give me some drill downs. Drill downs can be stuff like how much sales did we achieve in Asia Pacific, right? How much sales did we achieve in Australia, North America, right? And you have to pull this information out of enterprise data management, which is a nice way of saying a database, right? In order to put together these reports. And if I find out, as the head of sales globally, that sales has gone down last month by 17%, okay? There's a very simple question that I'm going to ask as a head of sales of a company. Anybody would ask this question. And this question is just three letters of the alphabet, right? And I'm sure all of you can help me. So what happened is that sales went down by 17% last month. And what's my next question? Come on, guys and girls, you can guess this in the chat box. It's simple. It's a three-letter question. The head of sales finds out that sales went down by 17%. You got it, right? So you guys have all, absolutely understood, what the next question would be. The next question is really simple. Next question is, why did this happen? And the moment you ask why, you're moving beyond just describing what is going on in the business. So what is going on in the business is about hindsight, and you see that here because it's already happened in the past, but now you want some insight into why things happened the way they happened, and that's what you see here. So this insight involves creating a model by analyzing things and trying to be able to say what were the reasons that led to sales going down by 17%. Hopefully, as the head of sales, I don't want to be surprised next month. So I'd also want to know what is the forecast for next month. Is sales going to be down again, or is it going to be back up again? Right? Now, the next question that you have on your mind, look, you're the head of sales and you report to the CEO of the company. So it's all fine that sales may have gone down because of the new year, discount period having ended. And there were a lot of handsome discounts around Christmas and New Year. Everybody bought a lot of stuff and now no one's buying anything, right? So now I know why it happened, but that's not enough. I'm running a business here. My next question is a four-letter question, okay? Four letters, and it starts with W. What's my next question as the head of sales? Come on, Agrawalk, Auvergne, Ankit, Antara, you guys can all answer this nice and easy, right? Absolutely, okay. Okay, when we already know when it happened. So we already know when it happened, but this is more about, sales, right? And I need to improve the sales, okay? So the answer to this is also what, right? But if you think about it, right, another way to think about it, if I just correct this for a second, right, is how should I proceed going forward? And that's the simplest way to think about it is a three-letter question, not even a four-letter question, right? How should I proceed next month in order to get the sales? Okay. And this, what you're asking now for is you're asking for foresight. Tell me what to do in the future so that I can improve the sales, right? And dynamic rule utilization is nothing but Uber saying that the number of riders have gone down, so let's go ahead and give people what. So if Uber needs to increase the number of rides and rides have gone down, how would they increase rides? They would give you something. What would they give you? What would Uber give you to make you avail more rides? They would send you an SMS with what? Come on, guys, you can all answer, guys and girls, right? Okay, there you go. Coupons, right? Promo codes. So prescriptive analytics is about prescribing how to proceed in the future to improve things for your business, right? And in the case of Uber, there would be promo codes. In the case of Amazon, it might be a discount, isn't it? So fundamentally, there's only three kinds of analytics. Descriptive analytics, which talks about hindsight and describes what's going on in a business. Predictive analytics, which gives you insight into why it's happening the way it's happening. Okay. And finally, prescriptive analytics, which tells you how to proceed in the future. Okay. Apologies. I've just muted some of you. So now is all of this clear to you? Can everyone say yes in the chat box if you're clear on these three kinds of analytics? Okay, fantastic. Now I'm going to make something even easier for you, right? What does a data analyst do and what does a data scientist do? Okay, so this range here from the beginning reporting to the beginning of predictive analytics is what data analytics professionals do, right? But then data scientists, what they do is they focus more on the predictive and the prescriptive analytics, right? This is what data scientists focus on. And then beyond that, you've got folks that are working on more advanced things than even that. You've got folks that are working on machine learning. In fact, more than machine learning, deep learning and artificial intelligence. These are all ways of doing prescriptive analytics, right? So this makes it easier for you to understand what people are doing. Now let me ask you this, that if these are the three kinds of analytics, what's HR analytics? Nice and easy, right? If you apply any of these to an HR business problem, you call it HR analytics. If you apply it to risk, you call it risk analytics. If you apply any of these, to any domain, for example, retail, you call it retail analytics, isn't it? Okay. Now, my question is simple. If I apply all of this to big data, then what kind of analytics is it? Put it in the chat box, please. If I apply all of this to big data, then what kind of analytics is it? Absolutely, Arul. It's big data analytics, right? And Muhammad Amrul Hassan says, what is business analyst? What do business analysts do? Now, this is a great question, okay? See, understand that in the IT services world, business analysts does not necessarily mean business analytics. The A can stand for an analyst. This person could actually gather the requirements from a client for a software, okay, and pass on those requirements from the client to the coders or the development team, the programming team, the software team. But this does not involve analytics, right? But if you're into business, some business analysts are into software. Other business analysts are nothing but data analysts working in a business in any company. Okay, and those data analysts are sometimes called business analysts because they're working on business data, and they work both basically on this part here. They work on the descriptive analytics. Is that clear? Yes. Is that clear now, Muhammad Amrul Hassan? Okay. Now the next question, while Muhammad Amrul Hassan clarifies, is coming from Ram, that what are the tools that used in big data analytics? So I'll answer this. And another good question from Jitendra is that business analytics and business intelligence, how are they different? Okay. So the whole thing is that when you look at this section here, metrics, and this section here, reporting, okay, and this section here, this is all BI. It's business intelligence, right? Now, typically the BI folks, can also be called data analysts. They can be called business intelligence people. So do not get confused by the words. They're pretty much doing the same thing. Only thing is that they might not be generating as much, alerts and exception rules, right? As this would be done more by the analysts. So BI and data analyst has a lot of intersect. Okay, there you would say that if this is the BI role, and let me draw it in the blue Venn diagram, and this is the data analyst role, right? There's a lot of intersect. There's probably a few things that are technical that BI people do that data analysts do not do. Let me give you an example. Okay, business intelligence people may work a lot on something called data quality. Okay, that might not be the responsibility of the people that are data analysts. They may not actually work on data quality. Okay, so there are a few things that DQ people do, that business intelligence people do that analysts do not. But as you can see, there's a huge overlap between these two roles. Okay, so I hope that clarifies your question. Now coming to Ram's questions, what kind of tools can you use to actually achieve these analytics, right? So here's the thing, right? You can actually work like this. If you look at this whole section here, the predictive part and the predictive part of the analytics, you can use many tools. You can use R, you can use SAS, you can use Python, right? For all of these. If you look at the starting point here, right, for the whole analytics world is typically actually when you come here, this section here is Tableau. So you find a lot of people using Tableau. You also find them using a software called ClickView. Okay. You also find them using Microsoft Business Intelligence, MSBI. Okay. There you go. And when you look at this section over here, right on top, okay, then there's many different things you could use, right? So machine learning and all, you could of course use R for machine learning, R and Python, but you could also use other machine learning platforms. To take an example, Microsoft now has Azure Artificial Intelligence, right? Azure AI. You also have Google TensorFlow, right? So Google has their TensorFlow AI platform, right? And deep learning platform. Okay. So the tools can vary quite a bit, but as you can see, you can use Spark as well. Now, to Ram's question, if this data is really, really big, then what you would end up using for the same things, right? For exactly these things, you would use not just Spark, but you could use Spark. You could use Hive for the queries instead of SQL. There's a tool called Hive, okay, to write the queries. You could use Hadoop, right? And you could use Kafka. Okay, these are some of the tools. All of these tools are used when the data is really, really big, but the reality is very often the data is not that big, right? This is all great, especially if your data is greater than, let's say, 10 GB, right? 10 gigabytes, okay? And that's where the big data tools are useful. But not always do you require big data tools, okay? Now, you have Hive. Hive is a way of running queries on very large data, okay? SQL is similar to Hive. So some of you know that you can write queries using SQL and get reports out of your database. You can also do it using Hive. SQL would achieve it for slightly smaller data sets. Hive would achieve it for very large data sets, right? Now, someone asked, Mohammed Amrul Hassan says there's a wonderful tool called SPSS. So the whole challenge, Mohammed, is that sure, it's a very nice tool and it was used in the past, but the tools today that are now becoming outdated, okay, one is SPSS. You'll also see that there's a very nice tool in the past called MATLAB, which some of you may have heard of, okay? So this was another tool that I can talk about. There's also a nice BI tool called Cognos, right? Now, what's happening though is that these tools are becoming a little outdated, right? And the world is moving forward, okay? They're actually not that sophisticated. So what do I mean by sophistication? What I mean by sophistication is that this, analytics becomes more and more complex as you move from descriptive to predictive to prescriptive analytics. And you need bigger and better tools to do this, okay? Great. Thanks, Mohammed Amrul Hassan. I'm very happy to answer your questions. All of you are free to ask your questions, right? And this is data analytics, and this here is data science, and this here, folks, is deep learning and machine learning. Now, are we super clear? And can I move ahead from this slide? Yeah. Please say yes in the chat box. Great. All right, fantastic. I'm moving ahead now. So as you can see, analytics has many, many applications, right? And something as simple as, when I look at 4 million customers of American Express globally, and I find that I want to sell them something better, right? I find they have a silver credit card and all of them now seem to have a higher salary, then I need to be able to create a model using analytics to figure out which other credit card of American Express could I sell to them. Could I sell them the gold credit card, right? If not the gold credit card, could I sell them the travel credit card, right? Okay. Can someone else name another credit card that the American Express company has apart from gold and travel? Nice and easy, folks. So suppose you've got 4 million users and they all have silver credit cards. There you go, right? So Ram says platinum. So I could also sell them the platinum credit card, right? Now my question to you is, I've got 4 million users globally with the silver credit card, and I need to figure out who I need to sell gold, who I need to sell travel, who I need to sell platinum. How can I do this? Do you think I can call 4 million people globally? Yes or no? Do you think I can make phone calls to 4 million people globally? Do you think I can? Okay, so you're saying no, right? How about email? Do you think I can email 4 million people, all of them, and ask them whether you'd like gold, travel, or platinum? Yeah. You guys, you're excellent, right? So absolutely not. So the only way, folks, that you're going to achieve this in the world of analytics is actually by trying to, run customer segmentation, which is what you see here. It's an analytics algorithm. It's called clustering. And by clustering, you'll find out which ones are likely to buy gold, which ones are likely to buy travel, which ones are likely to buy platinum. And then I can make offers to them. So I can upsell and I can try and cross sell. Now, for example, if I find people already have a platinum credit card, they're not likely to buy, a credit card at all. So if they're not going to buy a credit card, I could sell other things to them like insurance or like loans, right? So analytics helps you a lot in this, right? Not only that, if I have to figure out what kind of emails to send them, I can use A/B testing. So for example, should I send them an email saying that there's a 10% discount? Should I send them an email saying that they'll get 25,000 free points if they take the platinum credit card? Or should I, talk about the excellent lounge benefits of the platinum credit card in any lounge across the world, starting from Shanghai Airport, to Bangkok, to Heathrow. So how do you figure that out? How do you figure out what to send them? Well, you do it again using analytics, A/B testing. You send them different emails to a small population set to figure out what works, what does not work, for a larger population set globally, right? These are just some of the applications. As you can see, folks, here, right? Healthcare is using it for clinical trials, for genetic analysis, for forecasting epidemics like cholera, right? Amazon is using it to recommend wireless keyboards to you if you buy a wireless mouse. So they need to find out what to recommend to you, right? And if you look at it, every company across the world in any sector from finance, they're using it for risk modeling, and Amazon for fraud prediction, right? Market basket analysis, right? Forecasting of sales, which we just talked about a short while ago. Retail companies like Walmart, are using it to figure out what to put on the shelves, like Target. So it's being applied in each and every sector across the world. But not only that, you'll find that even human resources, in the year 2013, and support functions like finance and human resources discovered that 82% of their business leaders did not trust the data that they were seeing. They were just not happy with their data, right? And that led to a huge investment in HR analytics. And today, as CEOs said that they wanted more and more data to take decisions, and PricewaterhouseCoopers did a survey of 1,258 CEOs, which came out with this outcome. It started shaping the way people analytics was used in human resources to make significant improvement in employee performance, the quality of people that were being hired using predictive analytics, using optimization algorithms to improve the utilization of those people, and even improving the employee engagement or the happiness level of these people, right, by doing certain things that improve that engagement, right? So I'm not just saying that business is using analytics, but even HR is now. Here are the skills that you need to be in the world of analytics, right? And this comes from Deloitte. If you look at the skill sets, right, you'll realize that you need to learn data science algorithms, okay, like linear regression, logistic regression. You need to have certain bit of technology skills. We're not saying that all of you need to do a whole lot of programming, but you should be able to either do programming or you should be able to comfortably use a tool, where you can do drag and drop analytics. But one of them you definitely have to be able to do. You should also know all about a certain business domain, right? So your domain could be HR, it could be finance, it could be pharmacy, healthcare, but you do need to know a certain domain to be able to apply analytics in that domain. Now, you probably have some of these skills, but the other skills here you need to acquire, and that's where certifications like ours help you, is in acquiring the data science and IT skills that you require, as well as learning about domain knowledge. Some of you are technical, some of you are not. So, one of the things I realized at Citibank was that the blue line here is the business people in analytics, and they can come from backgrounds that are as varied as commerce. They might also be from economics backgrounds, like econometrics. They might have mathematics as a subject in the graduation, or sciences, right? But you will also see MBAs joining up here, and you see a lot of folks who are chartered accountants, as well as CFAs, right, join up in the analytics world in jobs. Now, the green line there is a technology line, and what you also notice is that there's teams need to work together. So typically in the world of analytics, you have business people working along with technologists. So these are folks that are bachelors in engineering, in computer science. They might be a master's in computer science, right? They might actually be DBAs, BI people. So these people are also learning analytics and joining the industry, and both of them are working, in the ratio of, it could be 60-40, right? 6:4, it could be 4:6. It all depends on the company, right? So there's room for everyone in the world of analytics. And as you grow in your career, what you expect to do, and that's what you see over here, is you expect to be able to move from descriptive analytics, which is what an analyst does, to predictive analytics, which is what senior and lead analysts would do, or data scientists who are senior data scientists would do. Analyst can also be called, a junior data scientist. In a lot of setups, they'll call you a junior data scientist. In a lot of other companies, you'll just get called a data analyst, right? And then you are a manager and AVP managing the analytics for a particular product or a particular service. It could be a product that's, a product line on Amazon, for example, cameras, right? Or it could be a service, for example, PayPal or Stripe, which is a leading payment gateway in the US right now. So it could be a product or a service. You might manage that. You might also manage a certain region. So vice president would typically end up managing the analytics for an entire region. That region could be North America, it could be Asia Pacific, it could be EMEA, right? And then you'd have the global leader of analytics. And wages can go up all the way from $80,000 on an average, right, to right up to 500,000 US dollars. I'd say half a million US dollars easily, right? If you reach the top of the ladder, it could be even more than that. Okay, so this I'm talking here about US dollars, right? And there are many reports that I can share on a different country basis, depending on if you're in Indonesia, Jakarta, Singapore. If you just share your email ID, I'll be sure to share those reports across with you as well, right? Okay. There you go. Now let me just pause here and let me see if I have any questions that have come up on the skills that you need in data science or the career paths that you have in data science, right? Let me take questions on this before I move ahead. Okay, let me have a look at the questions we've got coming up here. Right. Ram says, should we do PMP like courses to move up apart from R or Python? Okay. All right. So it kind of depends, right? So here's the thing. That's an interesting question there. So if you want to move up the ladder, right? If you're working in an IT services company, it might help to, have skill sets of two kinds. One is your ability to actually analyze things. So you'd actually, get certified in R, and you'd be able to visualize things. So you do need Tableau as well. You can't do with R alone. It has no use unless you can visualize it for your clients. And this is how you end up in the top consulting companies of the world as well. I mean, starting from Boone to Boston Consulting Group. If you want to manage IT services projects, which are not necessarily analytics projects, then it's good to do a PMP certification. But in the analytics world per se, um, it's not valued as much as it is in the IT world, right? So it's great if you have a PMP in IT services, if you're an Accenture or IBM, but if in Accenture, IBM, if you're in the analytics side, then you'd be valued more for your R, your Python, your Tableau, right? Okay, so I hope that clears that up, right? Okay, the next question is from Emrul Hassan saying production support analyst is a part of data analyst. All depends, right? So this word analyst is really tricky. So here's the thing. When you talk about production support, right, and let's talk about IT production support for a second there. Okay, so in IT production support, if you're actually handling tickets, right, and you get someone cuts a ticket, and let's say the ticket number is 2396, and you need to resolve that ticket in let's say 2 working days. Okay, and you've got 2 days to solve that ticket and get back with a resolution. You're being measured on productivity and quality. That has nothing to do with analytics, right? But if in production support analyst, if your role is actually to analyze the volume of tickets that we're getting globally and look at what are the frequently occurring issues, right? So and what are the average sort of resolution times that you have, right? What are the number of cases, percentage of cases in which we have first case resolutions of a customer's issue? Now, these kind of things, if you're analyzing all of this as a production support analyst, then sure, you're in analytics. But if you're actually working on resolving tickets, that would not qualify as analytics. Okay, so I hope that answers your question. You'd have to get deeper into that job and work with the recruiter to understand if it's analytics or not. Okay, Emrul Hassan. Now, Ram says, how are projects managed in analytics without proper project management, as it is more complex than normal IT projects? So in the analytics project lifecycle, it's not so much like the software lifecycle where you have models to manage, the software development, right? So you might have things like, let's say, for example, the waterfall model is really famous. Okay, and you might even have an agile methodology. You might have a scrum methodology to manage your IT projects. Now analytics has its own methodologies, right? But analytics projects can be very different from each other. Now when you look at the analytics project, there are three parts to the typical analytics project, right? And let's talk about it like this. Number one might be the entire data extraction, pulling the data, cleaning the data, and ensuring the data quality, and then passing on that data over to the data scientist, right? And let's say that there is step number two. Okay, step number two is that the data scientist works on it, and then again, moving on from there, you've probably got step number three, which is the data scientist. They do predictive analytics, but then most importantly, they also visualize, their outcomes. They present it to the clients, and then finally, some things come out of that. For example, Uber may decide to, offer coupon codes, or Amazon may decide to give a discount. But step number three is you need to put those discounts or those coupon codes into IT production again. So step number one and step number three could use the IT methodologies of project management. But you will find that step number two, which is what the data scientist does, can actually sometimes defy any methodology. Now, there are certain methodologies that you might want to read about. For example, there is a certain methodology called DECOVA. Okay, and I can tell you about this a little later. I'll include it in the links. You can read up on this methodology, but there's no assurance that this will work for each and every data science problem, because data science problems tend to be very unique from each other, right? Okay, so Mohammed Emrul Hassan is clear, and Ram says DECOVA. Ram, DECOVA is good, but understand that data science defies any particular process. Typically, if you look at a data science, project chart, it starts out a little bit like this with a lot of complexity, and then it becomes a little clearer, and then becomes a straight line, and you know what the outcome is. But there is a significant mess in between there, right, Ram, which I want to be pretty clear about, and that's what people actually like about data science sometimes. Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you, Ram. Now, this program, folks, is a wonderful program, and it's called the Analytics Accelerator Certification. And just to sort of, share the course page with you, you're all invited to the class free of cost tomorrow. So I'll just go to the website here and show you the exact program. It's our best program, the Analytics Accelerator Certification, right? And there's a detailed course content on the faculties, and you can see all of these wonderful techniques and reviews from our learners. So let me share this course page across with you here in the chat box, so you can look at this course page. And Kavita Bishwas has a question saying, data science, do they do similar tasks like the ETL developers? So here's the thing, right? Data scientists, okay, will do things that are, intersect a little bit with the ETL folks in this way. So let's look at it here. This should be very useful here, Kavita, to understand this a little bit better, right? So ETL is, extraction, basically extraction of data, and, testing, loading of data. So ETL folks operate here in this zone, okay? And that's what the ETL folks do, right? But the data scientists will not typically operate in that zone. They'll move on from the reporting, alerts, exceptions, all the way up to here. Okay, so that is what you would expect a data scientist to do, is more focus on the predictive and the prescriptive part of analytics, rather than the pulling of data and the querying and the reporting part, which is more ETL. Okay, and then after ETL you have BI, business intelligence, then you have business analysis, BA, or data analyst, and then finally you have the data scientist. I hope that helps you. Okay, Kavita, I hope that's clear before I move ahead. Yeah. All right. Let me get back to where we were, and very quickly we've got a demo coming up, and after the demo we've got your feedback form, and all of you who share your email ID in that feedback form with your mobile numbers, you will receive the recording for this presentation, the demo, and the entire webinar presentation here, right? Okay, so the structure of the course is a little bit like this, right? So we're going to help you understand what is analytics, and then get into statistical concepts. So statistics, folks, is the foundation of the analytics pyramid. You're not going to get anywhere in analytics if you do not have very strong foundations in statistics. So you need to learn mean, median, mode, standard deviation, measures of central tendency, probability distributions. If you are not comfortable with mathematics, please do not worry, because we take you through all of those fundamentals before we move into the next steps, which is predictive analytics techniques that you see over here. right? Okay, so 3 classes are on statistics. After that, we've got 2 classes on data exploration using Tableau and 2 classes on amazing video analytics and machine learning using Excel and Power BI dashboarding using Excel. And then after these 7 classes, we have 9 classes that are totally dedicated to your analytics and data science using R, which is your hardcore algorithms. And if you're an economics graduate or a commerce graduate, please do not worry, because we will teach you how to do all of this. And we're going to start with showing you how to write something called 2 plus 3 is equal to 5. But by the time you finish, you will be able to write a machine learning algorithm called gradient descent, right? So we'll be covering that as well in this program towards the end of the program. So it moves right from the fundamentals of defining a problem, analytics problem, which can be really hard. Don't underestimate this. You have to work with a lot of clients to do this, all the way to applying, advanced machine learning and text mining, sentiment analytics, regression, time series forecasting, decision trees, clustering and segmentation of data, market basket analysis. All of these techniques will be taught in this program. We're going to end the program with a capstone project, and you can choose your capstone projects. We have HR, we have banking, we have marketing analytics, right? So we've got that as well. And there are many more capstone projects in healthcare. So you can actually choose your specialization at the end of the program, and we'll give you a project that you can solve that works for the industry that you're in, right? The program starts tomorrow. All of you are invited to tomorrow's class, and we are going to get hands-on with the tools right away tomorrow, and you'll be surprised at how easy it is to learn analytics, right? Okay. So what is the amount of overlap of this course with R plus Python course? So Ram, this course is all about data science using R, machine learning using R, and Tableau and Power BI. And Python machine learning is the next advanced course that people do after this course. Okay. And Ram says data visualization plus R. So data visualization plus R will not have Power BI, and it's very important that you learn Tableau and Power BI. So what I want to share with you people is this over here. Gartner is the #1 body of research across the world right now, right? How many of you have heard of Gartner? Please say yes in the chat box if you have. Very nice. Okay. And Gartner has the Magic Quadrant for Business Intelligence in 2017. And what you're going to find is right on top of that Magic Quadrant is Tableau and Microsoft. So I've actually got it here in the presentation as well, Gartner's quadrant. And Tableau and Power BI have emerged as the #1 tools in the year 2017. And here you go. So in this, you'll realize that unless you can explore your data and present your data both in Tableau or Power BI, it's going to be really hard for you to be a successful data scientist. You cannot achieve that in ggplot in R or in the Python libraries, because it's going to take you a lot of effort to present it, and you can't explore it visually using these tools, right? So that's why the program is exhaustive and it takes you through everything that you see here. So have a look here. You're going to learn about all the statistics that you see here, the data visualization and visual analytics that you see here, right? You're going to learn about all of these techniques. And after you actually build these foundations in statistics and wonderful data exploration using visual analytics in Tableau and Power BI database creations, machine learning in Excel, if you believe it, you'll be learning that. Then we're going to move on and take you deep into data science algorithms in R, right? We will also teach you to query your data in SQL, which is really important, but then we're going to get deep into the R data science algorithms. And this is going to occupy 8+ classes, right, of your course. And finally, you will have your capstone project, right? And these are the state-of-art algorithms being used in the industry right now, because I've actually worked for the companies that do this work. And we know that these are things that you will need to kick off your career in data science or to apply analytics in business, right? These are the techniques that you need. You even get to learn how to do Twitter sentiment analytics by connecting to Twitter and analyzing what people are saying about any topic across the world. So not only can you analyze numbers, you can also analyze text data in this program using natural language processing, and we will teach you that. And you'll also be able to do video analytics, right? Create videos that help you analyze, right? You do not have to be an engineer. Any skills are good if you have domain knowledge skills, but you don't necessarily need any skills for the program. We teach you from the ground upwards. And the tools are actually R, Tableau, and Microsoft Excel. We're actually not doing SAS right now. It's all R, Tableau, and Excel. Each and every class is recorded, and 24/7 access is provided to you to those classes. If you have some work experience, it's good. And if you don't, we actually help you build your resume and create a great analytics resume and help you out with mock interviews if you need them. No one guarantees placements, but a lot of our learners have given their feedback on Quora.com. And if you go to the specific feedbacks on Facebook and Quora, you're going to see that a lot of people have benefited in their careers by learning data science, right? And you'll find that we're rated on Facebook. In the reviews section, you'll find that we have been reviewed as 4.9 out of 5. And these are some of the detailed reviews that you see now, from learners like Nana Ray or Suhail Halai, Andrew Inata, Rinaldi, Hidajet, right? All of these guys have given their feedback. So please feel free to read through detailed feedbacks of the people who've actually been through this. And you can even connect with them on Facebook, and wouldn't it be wonderful to hear their stories, right, personally from them, right? So I've added that link over there. Now, in terms of tool, understand that there's nothing called R versus Python in this industry. You need to be able to, over a period of time, pick up Tableau, R, and Python. If you know one visualization tool, which is Tableau, you know one tool which is open source and has excellent statistical libraries like R, and you know one tool, which is very good for production like Python, it's great. But if you know Python plus Tableau or R plus Tableau, that's also fine. Okay, one of them is perfect. Now, somebody familiar with Tableau and Power BI? Yes. So in that case, we have a course which is just called, just focused on the data science using R. And in that, you don't need to join the Tableau and Power BI. You will learn directly statistics and your R data science techniques. But I can assure you, Ramsey, that people who thought they were experts, in Tableau and Power BI were surprised on how little they knew when they joined our course. So I would suggest that there's hardly a price difference. Go for the Analytics Accelerator certification. It's the flagship course. You'll learn a lot. Okay. Will the course cover supervised, unsupervised learning? Yes, we actually teach you what is supervised learning, what is unsupervised learning, and we also teach you the machine learning algorithm called gradient descent algorithm, apart from all the classification algorithms, which are supervised algorithms, right? So thanks for that question, Agarwal K. Okay, I don't know your first name. So folks, what you'll notice is 2016 versus 2017. There's been an improvement in Python, right? And it has taken a little bit of the market share. But understand that both of these are huge giants, in the industry, right? And R is a great place to start. Okay. And what days and times are the sessions scheduled? Same time as today, right? Exactly the same time as today, only that the session is 3 hours. Tomorrow you will join at the same time and you're all invited, but it's a 3 hour class, right? Each and every class is recorded. So it's 7:30 to 10:30 p.m. Now, folks, a lot of you want to, succeed in the world of analytics, but here's something that I wrote in a blog, right? The important thing is, that you need to move up this ladder here from level 1 to level 2 to level 3, right? And if you think about it, and level 4 is being a magnet for recruiters globally, isn't it? And that's what all of us would love to be. So how do you get there is the question, right? So, right now we're probably, somewhere here at the base of the pyramid. The first thing you need to do is learn data science, right? See if you can get certified in data science and apply statistics, regression, to the data that you have currently in your life, any data, public data or data at your office. Do some live projects on a volunteer basis. There's lots of volunteer projects on freelancer.com, on fiverr.com, and other websites to apply what you've learned on the data sets, right? And come to me and I will give you data sets in any industry anywhere in the world, right, that you can work on. I'd be happy to do that. Over a period of time, once you do all of this, you get certified. It's really recommended that you put those certifications on your LinkedIn page as a live link that people can access and search, because these days bots and softwares are looking at your profiles, right? You can also compete on kaggle.com for data sets after you've done this course, and you can also post your codes on GitHub. These two places will get you a lot of popularity, right? If you're technical, then GitHub is a better option. And if you're purely into data science and business analytics, then Kaggle is a great place for you to work on some of the data sets and compete, right? Okay, so it's time for us to create this exciting dashboard that you see here, right? Wouldn't it be really nice if we can create this dashboard live in front of you? Would all of you like to see that? Please say yes in the chat box if you would, and watch me do this for you in a short matter of seconds, right? Are we ready for the Tableau demo, folks? Fantastic. You guys are excited. Okay. Before we get there, let me, clear some basic concepts in your mind, right? Here's the thing, right? So you think, that visualization is about, just presenting things, but no. Real visual analytics is not about just drawing a graph or a chart, okay? So this is a graph or a chart for the Cosmos Bank in Taiwan that kind of depicts how they're doing in different parts of Taiwan. Okay, but this is not visual analytics. So question is, what is visual analytics? It's not a graph, it's not a chart. It's about exploring your data visually, analyzing it visually, and collaborating with others to do this. And everyone would love to see breakfast like this, but wouldn't it be even better if you see breakfast like this, right? So we all understand that data visualization is powerful, and this tells us that 80% of the planet accesses, internet on their mobile phones. This tells us the number of injuries on this football player. So have a look at this carefully and tell me now, where are the maximum injuries on this football player? Okay, I go up and all of you are able to answer this, isn't it? It's the knee, because visualizations help you comprehend your data far better than other things, right? So tell me, how many nines do you see on the screen here? How many nines do you see on the screen here? Isn't this hard? Please say yes if it's hard. Please say yes if you find this hard. Fantastic, Caroline. Folks, the reality is we all think we're great at numbers, but it's different, right? Now, can you tell me how many nines there are on the screen? Please count. It'll be really easy for you to answer this now, okay? Because I'm making advantage of the strengths you have as a human being, which is that we all recognize things called pre-attentive visual attributes. And Taj, Avan, right, Himanshu, Pankita, you all, Kavita, you all got it, right? It's 10 nines. Okay, so now you understand that we believe we all need to be rock stars at numbers, but you don't necessarily have to. You can look at a lot of things visually and understand them. Everything cannot be understood by formulas, right? For example, I have this data set here. You analyze this data set with analytics, and things turn out to be exactly the same for all four of these data sets. X and Y are exactly the same. But it's stunning that when you analyze this visually, they're absolutely different from each other. So I'm going to teach you more about this tomorrow for you to understand that analytics, visual analytics has a role to play in analytics that is not just about algorithms and formulas. It's also about visualizing. I'll tell you about the person who created these data sets, tomorrow, right? Okay. Before we go there, now it's time for our Tableau demo. And let me see if I can fire up Tableau. And if some of you have actually installed Tableau, please say yes in the chat box, because we'd sent out links for you to install Tableau, isn't it? With a data set. Oh, wow. So Caroline, Kavita, Suja, Avan, Taj, Sandeep, Jitin, lots of you guys. Fantastic. I think I've got a really hands-on crowd here today, isn't it? Okay. All right. So I'm actually firing out Tableau now as we speak. And we're going to create, this visualization today in a very short while from now. And it's not just a visualization, it's actually, analysis of a data set. Okay, I'll make you a little comfortable with Tableau today and see if you can learn, the basics of Tableau, and we'll get deeper into this tomorrow. You actually don't need to practice along with me today because I'm going to get you guys to practice all of this tomorrow, complementary, in the first class on visual analytics. Okay. Here we go. So this is Tableau, and as you can see, Tableau can connect with an amazing amount of data sources, practically every data source out there, in the world. And let me just show you here, for example, Excel or text files, MS Access, statistical files, and more. Right? You click on more, and it'll have a bunch of things that you can connect with here. Let me do that. This is any file that you want to connect to. And over here to a server. So you can connect to all of these servers across the world, from Hadoop to SAP HANA, IBM DB2, Spark, right? For big data, you can connect to all of this. But not just that, you can even connect to humble things like your Google Sheet, right? So did you notice here that you can connect to a Google Sheet? And you can run really meaningful, analytics using Tableau. For today, I'll click on Excel here, and I'm going to connect with a file called Global Superstore, right? So I clicked on Excel, and I'm connecting with a file called Global Superstore. As it opens up here, I'm going to explain to you one of the really nice things about Tableau, right? What I'll do is I'll drag out, the orders. There are three things here. There are orders that have been placed by customers across the world. There are the customers themselves, which are the people. And then finally, you've got the returns, which is some of them actually returned the product. So I'll drag out orders by clicking on it and dragging it and dropping it here. The moment I do that, it opens up the entire data set, right? The beauty of Tableau, folks, is that it tells you, what is a number, which is depicted as a hash, okay? And it also tells you if the data is a character, text data by giving you an ABC. So it gives you these little prompts that tell you what kind of data you're actually working on, which you would not get in Excel or other environments. And this here is date and time data. So you've got date and time. And can someone tell me what is this over here? I'd be really interested to see if I can get some responses from you. What kind of data is this? Should be nice and easy. Yes, Avern, you're right. Yes, Taj, you're also right. So it is geographical data, right? We call it geospatial data. Okay. So Tableau makes it so easy for you to sort of understand what are the different kinds of data that you have in your data set. And as I drop, another, field here, which is the returns, you realize that Tableau even forms connections between different data. In this case, Tableau has detected a join between these two data, the orders and the returns, and apparently the people who ordered from certain markets also returned products to those markets, right? And you can look at the markets over here. So as you scroll on the right, you'll find M for market, and you see APAC, EMEA, you see EU, LATAM, Latin America. Those are the markets there, right? Tableau can make it easy for you to split the data. So if you look at this column here, it's got three pieces of data in it. And as I click on the drop down, it's nice and easy for me to split those data into three columns, isn't it? So that's how easy it is to actually work in Tableau. But now what we're going to do is we're going to go and open a sheet and see how we work in Tableau by clicking on sheet 1 over here, right? We don't actually work on a spreadsheet. We actually work in this window over here. Now in this window, you can see two things here on the left hand side. You can see something called dimensions, and you can see something called measures, okay? And if this is perplexing you, let me explain this to you in a really, really easy way, okay? Let's talk about measures. When a baby is born, we all measure certain things about the baby to make sure that the baby is healthy. What are the things that doctors measure about a baby to make sure that the baby is healthy? Please put it in the chat box. You got it. Weight. Taj says weight. He's absolutely right. What else? Come on, folks. Height. Overn, you're absolutely right. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right, Overn. Okay. And heartbeat, says Taj. Yes. How about temperature? Isn't it? Okay, fantastic, right? Okay. Now, these are measures, all the things that you talked about. For a business, their measures are discount, their measures are profit, their measures are quantity, sales. These are things that you measure. They should take on certain values. There's a high value, there's a low value, but you don't want them to You might be okay for them to go high, but not beyond a certain point. You might be okay for them to go low, but not beyond a certain point, right? So there's a range, a desirable range for these measures. There are things that describe a baby, and mothers and grandmothers, we all talk about those things. They describe a baby, we talk about it, but we don't necessarily measure it. We just talk about it. So the moment a baby is born, what are the first things that people say to describe the baby? It's a what? It's a, okay, yes, looks, absolutely. Color, name, yes. Okay. What's the very first thing that you check when the baby is born, right? Okay, more inclined. Yes, is the baby like the father? Is it like the mother? Is it a male or a female? Is it a boy or a girl? Now, here's the thing, right? Caroline says gender, facial features says Mark. It could be around. So let me talk about these things here. Let's talk about gender. Is there a perfect gender? Is there a perfect color for a baby? Yes or no? Right? Can you tell me? Is there, is there a perfect gender, perfect color? No, right? Is there a perfect kind of face? Should the face necessarily be round? Should the face necessarily be long? No, right? You guys got it, folks. So these things describe your data. They are describing the baby, but there are no desirable values, right? And anything that describes the data but does not have desirable values, for example, the city that my customer lives in does not have a desirable value. I don't have a problem with a customer living in Mongolia or Kuala Lumpur or Dubai or San Francisco. I actually don't mind, as long as they buy my product, right? So these things do not have desirable values. These are known as dimensions. Good. Are we super clear about what are dimensions and measures before I move ahead? Okay, super. You guys are a fantastic lot. So what I'm going to do now, folks, is actually try to understand which markets are we selling things in, in a good quantity, right? And when I say, which categories of products I'm selling, in which quantities, in which markets, all you need to do in Tableau is drag and drop stuff. So I'll take categories of products that I'm selling and drop it on the rows. The moment I do that, I realize we've got three categories. We've got furniture, office supplies, and technology. These are the three categories of products that we're selling. I'd love to know how much we're selling in terms of the numbers, so I'll drag quantity to the columns. And now you'll notice that instead of just the rows, you also have columns. In the columns, you see, the quantity, right? Starting from 0 million to 21 million sold for office supplies. Now, if I'd love to know, this is all great, but which customer segments am I selling it to? And I want to see it in the same visualization. I'm answering questions here for you guys, right? The customer segments, as soon as I drop segment to rows, I can see that I've got three segments within those categories. I've got consumers, corporate segments, and home office segment. So people who are corporates, people who are individual consumers that are buying my products, and people that have homes and offices, they're actually using our products as well. But what about all the different markets in the world where I'm selling this, right? So I go and find markets, and I can actually drop markets on top of the columns like this, and boom, I see all of the different markets. And finally I can drop market again on top of color, and now I see the different colors as well, right, for each of the markets, isn't it? And this is how quickly Tableau in a matter of seconds can help you analyze stuff and figure out what's going on. So you can actually call this sales across markets and just rename this sheet as sales across markets. Let me do that. In fact, it's just the quantity sold across markets. Okay, right, there you go. But then more than this, if I'd like to know how is the sales across the world, and I'll move to my next sheet and watch us explore this data, right? So I'll go here and I'll click on this little plus sign and explore with another sheet. Okay, there we go. Now I'd like to see the sales in different countries. And I'm going to make this super easy for you. All I'm doing is clicking on sales, and I'm clicking on country in the dimensions and measures by pressing the control button on my keyboard. On the top right corner of my screen, there's something called show me. And the moment I click on show me, it's auto recommending the world map to me and saying, hey, why don't you use this? It's recommended. So I'll double click that. And the moment I do that, kaboom, right? You've got the sales in all the countries across the world. Okay. But this is not enough. I'd love to know how the sales are in the different states of Australia, different states of China, right? So all I need to do is go and find state and drag and drop it on top of the world map. And the moment I do that, it breaks it up into all the different states in each country. I can even zoom into a particular country like Australia, right? And look at what's going on in Australia and increase the size of my bubbles to figure out, that I've got the maximum sales in New South Wales followed by Queensland, right? Okay. But this is not enough, right? It's not just about sales, isn't it? It's also about profit. So what do we need to drag and drop from the measures? Can someone tell me? Which one shall I pick up from the measures now to understand? Okay, let me see the chat box. There you go, profit, right? What if I want profit on color? So all I need to do is drag the profit out and drop it on color. And the moment I do that, I start realizing that the world wasn't exactly as nice as I thought it was, because there's a lot of places where we thought we were making profits, but we're not. For example, in Australia, we're not making profits in the capital territory. In New Zealand, Auckland's not doing so well. We've got challenges in Bangkok and Stockholm in Sweden, and some challenges over here in Panama, and Buenos Aires in Argentina, right? So to make this intuitive, you could obviously change the colors and go for green for profits and red for losses and step it up to 6 colors and use the entire color range. And wouldn't it be great if we can then, look at this and present this right here in Tableau to understand the sales and the profits globally for our company. And the red dots now indicate where we need to find out why are we making losses. Okay, so what we're doing so far in Tableau is that we're actually working on the descriptive part, okay? But not just descriptive. Tableau also has predictive analytical capabilities. So if I want to now move to predictive, and if I want to predict why is it that I'm making these losses, right? I have a hunch that we might be making losses because of our shipping cost. So Tableau has analytics as well, and it can integrate with R. And I'm going to click on the analytics right here for you and show you where it is. It's right here, the analytics pin, right? I'm going to click on this and I'm going to do some advanced analytics, which you will follow and learn tomorrow. Okay, so hang around and please do join the class tomorrow. You'll give me your email ID and I'm going to invite all of you. So I'm going to try to see if our profits are being impacted by shipping cost or not. Now, it might be a little hard for you to follow me. So just watch as I drag shipping cost out and I drop it on the column, right? Apologies. Yes, here we go. So we'll take shipping cost and drop it on the columns here, and I'm going to look at profit and drop it on the rows, right? And I get 1 point saying total profit and total shipping cost, but that's not enough for me. So I'm going to look at the different categories that we're selling in. Let me see if I can find those categories. For each category, I'd like to, um, look at what's going on, and also for each market, I'd like to see what's going on. So as soon as I drop market on top of shape, instead of 1 point, I've got 3 points for each of the markets in my data set, right? Total in EU, total in APAC, total in LATAM. Now, apart from this, I can actually take the category and drop it on top of the color. Now I've got more points. This time each circle is, depicting APAC, but in APAC I've got furniture, I've got technology, and I've got office supplies. Likewise, 3 squares. Each square depicts EU, which is European Union, but the 3 different categories in the European Union. So what I'll do now is I'll look at all the customers in the world, right, and drop them on detail. And now it's a total mess. I can't seem to make out what's going on here. But don't worry, we're going to, drop apart from the customers, we're going to disaggregate this data. And the moment I do that, it becomes a little easier to understand what's going on as I plot each and every record at the record level in Tableau, right? And watch this happen. Okay, it's just taking a little bit of time here. It's a relatively large data set. And we're going to then see if shipping cost is impacting our profits. Okay. All of you that join up tomorrow will be welcome to actually practice all of this along with us. Okay, so it's taking a little while here to compute this, right? So just give me a second, folks, while the computer works through all of this. It's a fairly large data set here. I'll just pause this a bit. I haven't got it, man. Are you in the chat? Okay. Can you share it on the in the chat box? You can share it in the chat box, right? Yeah. Not now, later. I'll ask you when. Okay. Okay. So folks, here we go. So I'll just resume and just see if Tableau is back up again. And let me go to the analytics pane. Yes. So we have disaggregated. Here we go. So we have disaggregated the data now, and we have actually, gone ahead and looked at every record at the transaction level and watch us do some analytics. So 4 GB RAM is minimum, 8 GB RAM would be ideal. You need a 64-bit machine and 8 GB RAM. What I'll do is I'll drop a trend line of linear regression to help us understand and predict if shipping cost is impacting profit. Now in this, Tableau will try to run a predictive analytics model and plot for us a linear regression trend line which shows us the relationship between shipping cost and profit, and whether it's a significant relationship or not, and whether all of our products are being impacted or some of our products might be getting impacted by the shipping cost being a little high, and therefore their profitability is getting impacted, right? So we'll wait for Tableau to come back with the results for us, and you will see in a short while when you work on the data set that I've shared with you, you will see something like this pop up. So let me come back down, and you will see this trend line pop up, right? Tomorrow we'll be able to create this dashboard as well, okay? Apart from the trend line that you see over here. So over here, you can see the 3 trend lines which will pop up in a very short while. And tomorrow we will create this in great detail in the class on Visual Analytics 1 using Tableau, right? Okay, so Tableau is computing this right now. Okay, and in the meanwhile, what I will also do is that I'm going to share the feedback form with all of you for today's webinar to make sure that we capture your information, and all of you get the recording for the webinar. You also get the link for tomorrow's class, right? Okay, so we'll share the feedback form in the chat box with all of you. Just give me a second here while we do that. Okay, and I want all of you to now do me a favor. If you enjoyed today's class, please share your feedback with us. No, share it with everybody. Okay, here we go. So I'm actually going to pull out the feedback form here for a quick second. All right, and share it across with everybody. So the course is available at the exact time that I shared. Now I've got a very pleasant for you. So all of the people that have joined the course today, right, we're actually going to be sharing a discount link with all of you right now. And I'm pleased to share that we're going to give you 1,000 Indian rupees, which is close to more than $30 off on more than $20 off on this particular course, and you're going to receive that discount code from me right today, and we'd be more than happy for you to avail that discount and join the course, right? Tomorrow's class is free of cost, so I want all of you to join tomorrow's class, right? Now, please click on the feedback form that I've just sent you right now in the chat box. And I want you to fill the feedback and say done in the chat box. Once you've shared your email ID and mobile number and your name, we'll be sure to share the recording, the presentation, and the data that you saw today, as well as the Tableau installation link. Everything will be shared across with you. So looking forward to all of you filling this, and let me open up the feedback form so I know how many of you have filled it up. And I want to see all of you in tomorrow's class as well, right? Okay. I'm going to just open up the feedback form now. And as you fill your feedback, I will get to see how many folks have filled the feedback. So just give me a second while we open up the feedback form. And you can say done in the chat box once you've shared your feedback. It was my pleasure to have hosted you guys. So Agarwal, Avon, Ankit, Brian, Caroline, and I'm sure to see you tomorrow as we go deep into visual analytics and data exploration using Tableau. And it's a totally free class, so you're all welcome. So Kuhelika as well, right? Amrul, Mark, Mohammed Ridwan, Naga, it's great that you were able to give me your time today. So Taj and Ram have filled up their feedback. I want to thank you, Taj and Ram, and let me just open up the feedback form so I know how many other folks have actually filled up the feedback. Can you Okay, so I'm sorry. So yeah, I think I was not audible. So again, to share the answer to the question, we'll be covering data variables, types of data variables. What is the difference between a population and sample? How do you measure mean, median, modes, and what is their significance? How is data spread? For example, what kind of spread is this year, and what kind of spread is this year, right? So you learn that. You learn the different distributions of data, like the normal distribution and other distributions. You learn descriptive statistics, probability, hypothesis testing, and we'll make you very comfortable, right? So if you've forgotten all of this from your school days, don't worry. We'll start right from the basics and build it up from there. Okay. Right. So we actually are based out of Bangalore, Ram, and we conduct courses globally in Dubai, in London, Norway. We've got learners, Saudi Arabia. We've got learners in Nigeria and the US and Canada and Australia and Singapore. So classes happen 7:30 to 10:30 p.m. India time, and you can convert that to time across the world. For example, in the US, it can work out to be, depending on whether it's Eastern time, Central time, or Mountain time, it can work out to be anywhere from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. Right? And we do weekends only because we're mostly for working professionals and professionals who learn on Saturday, Sunday. During the weekdays, we give you a lot of practice assignments which you need to work on. Typically 2 hours to 3 hours in a week, is what you need to invest on your assignments, right? Okay. Okay, so I hope that helps. Any more questions? Now I want to throw it open for any question on your mind about analytics. You can ask me whatever you like. So Wei Chen, Taj. By the way, Wei, it's great to have you with us. Wei, are you based out of China or Korea? Is it Korea that you're based out of? It's great to have you with us. And I love your questions. Dulron, I didn't get where you're based out of. And Caroline, what questions do you have for me? Avern, let me take any questions that you have about your career. You can even send me private questions on a chat box, right? I can answer them for you. My goal is to be able to answer all your questions. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to share my email ID with you. Okay, and I'm sure some of you may have more questions, but you might not be actually sharing your questions, out here with the larger audience. So why don't you do this? Why don't you drop me an email at amit@equiskill.com, and I love to chat on WhatsApp. So I've got this number here for you, 97316578840. This is my number. Okay, so why don't you guys go ahead, and I'll put this in the presentation as well. And if you have any questions, okay, WhatsApp chat with me, or go ahead and just email me or give me a call, right? So I'd be more than happy to take more questions that come up in your mind as you actually go through this, as you think about analytics, right? And I'd be happy to answer those questions for you. Okay, there we go. I've added this to the presentation. There you go. Fantastic. Okay, what else would you like to know? Yes. R for data analytics, Python for data messaging. Is it the way the combo works? No. The key difference, Ram, can you also share your LinkedIn profile, please? Okay. I'll give you a very nice article on R versus Python just now. And it's actually, it goes a little bit like this. Can Tableau also do analysis on Notepad data? So if it's Notepad text data, Kavita, you would have to use R text mining, because Tableau doesn't handle text as well. Okay, but if it in the Notepad, if you have numbers, you might be able to use Tableau. It all depends. Text is better handled by R, natural language processing. Okay, and yes, so I've got a little request here for my LinkedIn profile. So that's great. I'd actually love to stay connected with you guys on LinkedIn. Let me just see if I can get this out to you. Okay. Meanwhile, we've got some more questions coming in. Let me see if I can answer them. Um, what just happened here? LinkedIn is actually misbehaving here. Okay. Um, okay. So I'll get my team to share my LinkedIn profile with you. Okay. Just give me a second here. So I'll ask you know my team member here, Sid, to share it across in the chat box. Right. For some reason, it's actually not opening up on my computer here for some reason. Okay. Oh, okay. Here we go. I think I just got lucky. Okay, here we go. So yeah, here we go. Yes. So my team member Sid has actually shared it in the chat box, and what I'll do is I'll also put it in the presentation, so you guys can actually connect with me on LinkedIn, and there we go. And we can be a network for each other globally, right? And hopefully that's something that we all look forward to, isn't it? Having a global network. Okay, and this program helps you with that as well, right? There's people across the world who join the program, and so you build a network in many different, locations across the world, right? Okay, and let me see if there's more questions. Can yes, R versus data. Okay, so here's the thing, right? There's this really good article that you want to read to understand why you need both R and Tableau, but I can summarize it here for you, right? So here's the thing, right? R has very good statistical packages, right? So R's ability to use statistical packages and massage your data, work on your data, clean your data is fantastic. All the data scientists across the world have been using R for many years, and they've created a lot of advanced analysis techniques in R. And the only challenge is that R can only work on data sets that are as big as the RAM on your computer. So if, for example, the RAM on your computer is, let's say, 4 GB, R could work on that. If your RAM is 8 GB, then R can work on 8 GB worth of data. Now this is more than enough RAM, or more than enough data for most scenarios. But sometimes when you have larger data sets, Python has the ability to actually use the hard disk. So here's your hard disk, and Python can take a part of your hard disk, let's say, 5 GB of your hard disk, and actually use that in case it's running short of data in the RAM. So let's say your RAM is 4 GB, then Python would easily be capable of working on a 9 GB file because it can use your hard disk as RAM. Now, apart from that, Python can also put things into production. So it can go and, connect up with databases and put things into production in the database. So it can send out a lot of discount codes to people, if it's Uber, to take an example, or it can do a lot of other things like send out emails to people using a marketing campaign tool like MailChimp, for example, or SendGrid, for example. So Python has those broad capabilities, and it also is a very nice and lucid programming language, and that's why it's also becoming good. It's statistical libraries and data science libraries are not as good as R, but over a period of time now people are trying to bridge that gap, right? And there's this really nice article that I can share with all of you. um, the wages in R are actually a little higher than the wages in Python. I think R commands around 100 and $4,000 is the average salary of a data scientist in R. And in Python, I think it's around $94,000. So here we go. And both of them started out around the same time in the 1990s, right? This is a wonderful article, wonderful article. So R versus Python. Data scientists tend to use R a lot, and the coders, they tend to use Python a lot. Both are open source. Both have lovely communities of people online who will help you if you get stuck with anything, right? And both of them are, have a lot of supporters globally. So if you want to look at the flexibility, ease of learning, code repositories, the numbers are very comparable. If you look at the salaries, maybe R is a little higher, but again, the ease of use of Python is increasing by the day. And if you look at it right, projects will require both R and Python. It can't just be only R or only Python. And you'll also see that other tools are required. So you can see here other, and that is tools other than R and Python like Tableau and QlikView. And visualization works beautifully. So this is where R is winning the battle, is that R plus Tableau or R plus QlikView, right? Now R has got integrated into Tableau. So this is like dating, right? In the world of data science, people just love it when they can analyze stuff using R and visualizing it using Tableau, right? Okay, so that's another big benefit of R. And Python, of course, I told you the benefits, right? These are, comparisons of visualizations that have been created in R versus the visualizations created in Python, right? Okay. But as you can see, each one has such lovely benefits that it's not R versus Python. It is R and Python. Okay. So who's the winner? It all depends on what kind of problem you want to solve, right? So if it's data science related problems, it's very likely that you might actually, use R. But if it's production related, you might use Python. It really depends on a lot of things, honestly. And sometimes you don't even get to decide, right? It's the client who decides. The important thing, if you understand, and I've written a blog on this on Quora, the important thing is not R or Python. So here's the beauty, right? Let's come here and look at the most important data analytics techniques in the world. Okay. And these are the techniques here, right? Linear regression can be done in R. It can be done in Python. So let me write here R, let me write here Python, and let me write here SAS, right? So one more tool, okay? All of these techniques can be done in all of these tools. Okay, so there's nothing that cannot be done in R or Python or SAS. Okay, so the important thing really then is not really about the tools. Tools will be decided by your industry. The important thing is your concepts in these algorithms, right? So if I give you credit card data and I tell you that who should I give a loan to and who should I not give a loan to, basis how they're behaving with their credit card, which technique would you use in all of the techniques that you see here on your screen? Now that is the real data science. Okay, it's not about R or Python or SAS. It's nothing. The technique you would use is logistic regression and scorecard development to prepare a scorecard that tells you what is the score of the credit worthiness of the human being on the basis of the credit card data. And this we will teach you in the course, in the capstone project that you'll get. And you would not be able to answer this tool even if you did a course on Spark and big data. You can't answer this question that I gave you right now unless you're solid in statistics and data science. And that's why I want you to focus on the techniques, and and that is most important, right? And again, in big data, yes, Spark has the capabilities, Scala has the capabilities, right? So, again, it's not about the tools, and a lot of technical people, especially IT people, they tend to focus too much on the tools, Spark, Scala, and all. The reality is that in the real consulting world in analytics, what you will need badly is the techniques, not the tools. Apart from that, you'll also need soft skills to define the problem you're trying to solve and be able to define it correctly and get the buy-in for all your clients and your stakeholders before you actually get into it. You will not be able to choose, right, Ramsey, to be able to clear to you, right? You will not be able to choose the tool. So very often the client may choose the tool, right? So you want to read my blog on Quora, and I've written a very detailed blog about this, right? And I'll share that blog with you. Let me just pull it out here for your benefit, right? Okay. So I'd share that I blog a lot. So capstone projects, yeah, programming language on data science. Here you go. Okay. And I've written this blog for exactly these kind of questions because everybody thinks a tool is going to make them successful in life. Nothing could be further from the truth. So I'm saying here that R, Python, SAS, Scala, Spark are not important. The client and the market decides the tool. You do not. So it's R and Python, not R versus Python. You also need to have a visualization tool, either Power BI or Tableau. Without that, you're not there. You're just not there, right? Many platforms, are there and they're going to remain for many more years. But how do you actually, use more than just the tool? How do you actually learn the techniques? That's what will differentiate you, an average data scientist from the best data scientist, right? And this question keeps coming up from time to time on Quora. I would recommend something, my friends, right? If it's okay with you, please do, follow me here on Quora, and you'll get a lot of answers that I get, free of cost. Right, here you go. I've just sent my Quora profile. You can follow me, and if you like a question, be sure to upvote that question, right? So a lot of other people can get that question, right? So can freshers work in big data? All kinds of questions here, right? Okay, and yeah, here we go. So you can even ask me questions on Quora. Okay, great. So Avern, again, I hope I've got your name right. Avern or Avern, I don't know which one is right, the first or second. Please help me pronounce it. So Ankit, thank you. Ayush, Caroline, thanks a ton for coming. Chandan, Dalron, Gaurav, right? We've got Ismanidar Monique. Oh, wonderful to see you, Ismanidar. Yeah, there's a class tomorrow, Ismanidar, so we will be inviting you for the class as well. Okay, complimentary class on Tableau. Jitendra, Kavita, Kuhelika, really nice to have you here on your iPhone. And if you can install Tableau tomorrow, right, it'll be great because guys, you can all practice. Let me show you, I'll give you detailed instructions in the presentation. But if you just type Tableau public, right, in Google, and you go to this link here, you guys can just go and download Tableau and install it on your computers right away. Okay, there we go. And Mohammed Amrul Hassan says, "Thank you, man, for sharing your experience. Looking forward to join the other course. Absolutely." And here is my Facebook page. My only request is, if you guys, liked, please, rate us 5 and share some comments on this webinar, on our Facebook page. So a lot of other people get to see our events. The way Facebook works is the more the reviews on the Facebook page, the more people globally will get to see these free events where they can benefit and learn analytics, right? So I would be highly obliged if you can please rate us, on Facebook, right? And thanks a ton. I'll see you tomorrow, all of you. Okay. Please also like and share our Facebook page. We also have a YouTube page, by the way. So we have a YouTube channel. I think some of you may, love, that YouTube channel. So I'll send it across in the presentation, right? And you can all have a look at the YouTube channel as well. Okay. Well, good day and good night to all of you. And thank you for your time today. We will see you tomorrow. Thanks, Emrul, Kavita. Thanks, Pankita, Naga, Ridwan, Mohammed Ridwan, Mohammed Emrul, Kuhelika, Isminder, Ismanidar Monique. Yes, thank you. Gaurav, Chandan, Caroline, Ayush, Avan. Thank you all for your time. Suja, Wei Chen. Thanks a lot, Wei Chen, for your time. And I'm going to see you tomorrow.